Hey, thanks for watching the Fanboy Cantina. In this video, we're talking about the Hasbro Pulse live stream and the G.I. Joe Retro Collection reveals. As the Retro Collection, it's based on the G.I. Joe toy series from the 1980s, or at least started in the 1980s, and still continues today. On the Hasbro Pulse live stream on July 17th of 2020, Ronnie and Mark spoke to the G.I. Joe Retro Collection. I think there's a lot of anticipation for this series, or at least for myself, so let's get to the figure reveals. So the first figure revealed was Storm Shadow, and so we can see right off the bat, for this retro collection, they're not going all the way back to the 80s. Maybe they'll go back to those designs from the 80s, but it's the more modern take. And so we've got Storm Shadow in the white uniform with the Cobra's insignia on it. And I think it's a different head, but it's based on a more recent version or more recent body of the Storm Shadow action figure. For each of the figure reveals, they also shared the carded version of that action figure. And so here we get the old version of the Storm Shadow card along with the file card on the back. All of the retro collection is available exclusively at Walmart. Here we are on the Walmart.com site, and we can see all of the accessories, the swords, the throwing stars, all of the little pieces that come with this version of Storm Shadow. So while I'm disappointed that the retro collection doesn't use that O-ring design, it is pretty cool. I don't have the modern Storm Shadow that this is heavily based on, so I am excited about this figure. So with Storm Shadow as the first figure reveal, I suppose it's no surprise that the next figure shown is Snake Eyes. The retro collection version of Snake Eyes is actually based heavily from the Pursuit of Cobra version of Snake Eyes from several years back. I did not get that figure. It was from a period where I stopped collecting G.I. Joe stuff, so I'm excited to have the opportunity to get this figure. There are some issues, right? In that one glaring one, you've got the original art from the 1980s, from the first edition of Snake Eyes with the sunglasses, yet this figure has the visor version. The last of the action figure reveals was the Baroness. And just like the other two action figures, we've got the Baroness using the old original carded art for the figure, along with a more recent version of the action figure. Here on the Walmart.com site, we can see all of the accessories and weapons that the Baroness comes with. I wish that they would have packed in that original long sniper rifle. I distinctly remember that from the first version of the Baroness, but it looks great. I like all the accessories. The carded art looks fantastic. It's a really nice looking action figure. While that ended it for the Wave 1 set of action figures, they inadvertently revealed Wave 2. So you can see from this card back, the next three figures will be Scarlet, Roadblock, and Destro. This retro collection line would not be complete with also having vehicles, so they revealed two vehicles, the first being the Cobra Hess tank. So here we're looking at the Hess tank on the Walmart.com website. It's priced at $24.99, comes with the driver. I think it looks great. It's the same toy from the 1980s, looks exactly the same, even has the same number of 788 on the side. The box art is the same from the 1980s. So if you didn't get that toy from the 80s, or you're looking to build out your fleet of Hess tanks, this is pretty awesome. The other vehicle revealed is the G.I. Joe Ostreicher with Crankcase as the driver. I thought this part of the live stream was odd, where he was talking about the features like the shocks and the turning wheels of the Ostreicher. Nothing's changed. It's the same vehicle from the 1980s. It used to do the same thing. The Ostreicher is at the same price point of $24.99 as the Hess tank. It looks great, right? If you didn't get it in the 80s, same deal. Now is a great time to get that same vehicle. And it looks nice. I like the box art. I wish they would have included Crankcase's original long rifle. I remember getting that way back when. Doesn't look like he has any weapons or other accessories of his own here. If there's one part that I do encourage you to check out from the original Hasbro Pulse live stream, it's this one, where Flint Dille spoke about his experiences working on the G.I. Joe Sunbow cartoon series. A handful of great stories, as it's not a very long part of the live stream, but it is great to see him here. And he also speaks about his new book, The Games Master, and that includes coverage about his experiences on G.I. Joe, Transformers, and other franchises. There was one final reveal during the live stream, and that was this, the Snake Supreme Cobra Commander. This was originally supposed to be a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, but since the Comic-Con is not happening, it will be available via Hasbro Pulse later this year in September of 2020. I think I like the packaging more than the figure itself. Just look at that. Look at the detail, the cutouts from the back of that box, and then you pull out the sleeve to reveal the next box for the figure. With that inside box, it opens up in this unique way to reveal the Snake Supreme Cobra Commander. We can see the accessories of the sword, the gun, the scepter, as well as a little bit of like a gold globe for him to stomp on. Looks really impressive. And the cape has all of this intricacy, all of this detail that really pops nicely. So that wrapped it up for the Hasbro Pulse live stream, and then shortly thereafter they were posted for sale on the Walmart.com site. This experience was a total disaster and a mess. At first, when they went live, there were no pictures for any of the figures. The same was true for the Black Series Star Wars figures that went out before they were expected to be released, but also didn't have pictures attached to it, so you didn't quite know what you were getting. And by the time they posted the pictures, some of those figures for both G.I. Joe and Star Wars were sold out. So not a great experience, and a number of collectors, including myself, weren't all that happy. So what do you think? Post down in the comments, what are your thoughts about the G.I. Joe Retro Collection? Is this something that you're excited about? Are you going to get these in your collection? For myself, I did pre-order the Snake Eyes action figure as well as the Storm Shadow action figure. I'm holding off on the Baroness. I am disappointed, though, I should say that. I would have expected that with the retro collection that we would have been seeing the O-ring original figures from the 1980s. That said, with these figures, they do look nice. I don't have them already. With the Ostreicher and the Hess tank, I think they're cool. But I've got them from the 80s. I remember saving my money and buying them as a kid. I don't need to buy them again. Many of these pre-orders sold out already. They are not listed on the nowinstock.net site for tracking. However, you can sign up on the Walmart site for getting that in-stock alert. That might be the best bet if you're interested in the out-of-stock sets of figures and vehicles. Hey, and if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up down below, but then also check out the other videos that we've put together in the past few weeks about G.I. Joe new releases. Hey, thanks for watching. Please take a moment to subscribe. This has been the Fanboy Cantina.